Fed and Forgiven explores some of the many layers of meaning in the meal that is at the heart of Christian worship, Holy Communion.
Today, we'll explore how communion is a celebration where Jesus hosts a party of community and joy.
First, we'll consider the significance of Jesus' practice of sharing meals with all sorts of unexpected people. Then, we'll look at how our sharing of communion is a taste of the feast to come, when all the hungry are fed.
Jesus was known as someone who ate with all sorts of people, and amongst many religious leaders of that time, he was notorious for sharing meals with the wrong sort of people.
In the culture Jesus lived in, to share a meal with someone meant sharing their reputation, linking yourself with them before society and God.
It was scandalous for a religious teacher like Jesus to share meals with sinners. Sinners meant those who were labeled by the religious authorities to be outside the boundaries of acceptability.
Sinner could mean what is now the common understanding of the word, someone who has done something wrong or lives in an immoral way.
However, in those days, sinner could also refer to someone who was too poor to pay the temple tax, someone who was chronically ill or mentally disturbed, someone whose job made them impure, like a mortician or prostitute, non-observant Jews or non-Jews.
According to the Gospels, the religious leaders' most common complaint about Jesus was that he ate with tax collectors and sinners.
Tax collectors were outside the boundaries of acceptability because they were in league with the Roman oppressors, and because they were assumed to collect more than the necessary tax in order to enrich themselves.
The disciples' experience of Jesus sharing meals with such a variety of people, respectable citizens and undesirables, shaped their understanding of what Jesus was doing in his Last Supper with them. Jesus' meal fellowship was itself an enactment of the forgiveness of sins, an enactment of God's kingdom now.
At the time of Jesus, many Jews expected that the Messiah would host a feast where there would be food for all and the sorrows of the world would be healed.
The prophet Isaiah paints a picture of this future feast, this party that God would throw in the time to come. On this mountain, the Lord of hosts will make for all peoples a feast of rich food, a feast of well-aged wines, of rich food filled with marrow, of well-aged wine strained clear.
And he will destroy on this mountain the shroud that is cast over all peoples, the sheet that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death forever.
Then the Lord will wipe away the tears from all faces, and the disgrace of his people he will take away from all the earth. For the Lord has spoken. It will be said on that day,
Lo, this is our God. We have waited for him so that he might save us. This is the Lord for whom we have waited. Let us be glad and rejoice in his salvation.
This expectation that the Messiah would feed all the hungry is why, after the feeding of the 5,000, according to the Gospel of John, Jesus had to escape from the people who wanted to crown him as the promised king.
Jesus' meal fellowship with all kinds of people is an image of the party that will come when God finally takes charge, not as a general, but as a host.
communion is gathering together at God's great party. At this table, sinners are welcomed, the broken are made whole, the hungry are fed.
At this party, the guests are not always who we expect. We learn the character of the host. We receive a foretaste of the feast to come. Thanks be to God.